There are a few moments in language learning more nerve-wracking than those first 5 seconds.
Oh, absolutely.
That moment you meet someone new, the pressure is just on, and you're trying to remember vocabulary, get the grammar right all at once.
It's the highest pressure moment for what is really the lowest stakes conversation.
Yeah.
And for those A1 and A2 learners, the real beginners, that first hurdle, the self-introduction, it can feel like a brick wall.
Yeah, a brick wall between you and actually speaking.
Hmm.
We know that feeling. So today, we are tearing that wall down. This deep dive is built around a fantastic, comprehensive guide made for anyone who needs to build that confidence instantly by mastering the English self-introduction.
And we're treating it as more than just a formality. It's a critical linguistic tool.
So what's our mission here?
Our mission is to give you the shortcut, the exact structure, the crucial grammatical do's and don'ts, and, the cultural stuff that you need to make that first impression smooth and totally natural.
Right.
Because when you really internalize this structure, you unlock the path to comfortable everyday communication.
Okay, so if we have the entire universe of English grammar to choose from, why does our source material insist that we start right here with the introduction? Why is this the ideal practice tool for someone just starting out?
It's the perfect foundation because it deals with the single biggest obstacle in early learning, which is just that intimidation factor.
The fear.
The fear, yeah. Learners often know the rules, in their heads, but they freeze up when they have to speak. The introduction is forgiving.
Okay, so how does practicing something so basic help with that kind of major anxiety?
Well, it's cognitively efficient. It takes
Yeah.
away the stress of having to come up with a new thought and translate it at the same time.
Because you're the expert on the topic.
You're the expert on you.
Not bad.
Exactly. So if the content is fixed, you can devote, 100% of your mental energy to just the delivery in English.
Right, and the mechanics of that are
Yeah.
pretty simple, right?
They're the simplest. The whole thing relies almost entirely on the present simple tense.
Which is the very first thing you learn.
The very first thing. It's for facts, states of being, habits. I am, I work, I like. You are already equipped to do this, so you're setting yourself up for a win right from the start.
And the vocabulary is all there. You're not looking up, complex philosophical terms.
Not at all. You're talking about your name, your job, your family, your hobbies, things you already know. And because it's basically memorizable, when you deliver a smooth introduction, it's a massive confidence booster.
It's a springboard.
It's a springboard that gives you the momentum to get into those longer, more improvised conversations later on.
It's the gateway drug to fluency.
That's a great way to put it.
You can practice it anywhere. In the car, to the mirror.
The availability of practice is endless. And that simple structure, it needs to be predictable. Our guide breaks it down into 8 parts. Think of it like a checklist.
A checklist. And you don't have to use all 8 every time, right?
No, not at all. But it's good to know them.
Okay, let's unpack this. We start, obviously, with the basics.
Part 1. Name. Simple. My name is. Or the more common, I'm.
But even here, there's a really common error, isn't there?
Oh, a huge one. And we have to issue a crucial mistake alert here. Please, avoid saying something like myself, Daniel.
Right.
Learners often translate this directly from their own language where that structure is normal. In English, it's just incorrect. It sounds robotic or wrong. So stick to my name is or I'm.
Got it. Okay, after the name, you ground yourself in space. Part 2, origin and location.
Exactly. State your country.
Okay.
I'm from Brazil or I come from Vietnam. A great little A2 detail is to then add where you live now. I come from Japan, but I live in London.
And that immediately gives the other person something to ask about.
Yep, it's a conversational hook.
Okay, moving on to part 3, age. The source says this one is optional.
It is, especially in professional settings. You can just say, I'm 22 years old, or even simpler, I'm 30.
And here comes another one of those huge mistake alerts. This is a big one.
This is maybe the biggest one for learners from Romance or Slavic languages. They so often translate directly and say, I have 22 years.
Which is fundamentally wrong in English.
It points to a core difference in how we think about age. In many languages, you possess your years. In English, age is a state of being. You are that age.
So it's always I am.
Always. I am 30. That structural difference, that's the deep dive insight right there. It's a conceptual shift, not just a word change.
I love that. Okay, once we've got age, we move to part 4, job or studies.
Right. This gives people context for your daily life.
And you want to keep it simple and clear. I work as a nurse, or I study computer science.
Yeah, and it's practical. If you're in transition, the guide says it's totally fine to say, I'm currently looking for a job.
Okay. Part 5, family or pets. Just a quick human detail.
A quick snapshot. I'm married and I have 2 kids, or I have a dog named Max. Again, just simple, present, simple.
Now, part 6, hobbies and likes. This, the guide says, is where it gets really interesting.
This is where it becomes the launch pad. This is the section that turns your prepared speech into a real conversation.
Because if they know what you enjoy, they have an instant way to connect. If I say, I like reading, they can ask, oh, what kind of books?
Exactly. You can use I like, I enjoy, or I love. You can even mention a dislike. I don't like spicy food. It gives you personality. It provides a hook.
Part 7, personal goal. This sounds like it's for a specific context.
It is, mostly for a classroom or a professional setting. You're explaining your why.
Like, I'm learning English for my job.
Or, my goal is to speak fluently so I can travel. It tells them your motivation.
And finally, part 8, the closing. You can't just stop talking.
No, don't just let it drop off. A simple, polite close like, nice to meet you, or it's a pleasure to meet you, shows you're finished and you're ready to listen.
So that structure, named a closing, that's the whole framework.
That's the framework for success. But while the structure is the backbone, sounding natural means fixing some of those little grammatical habits.
Okay, so beyond the big I have years mistake, what are the core grammar points a beginner really needs to internalize?
Well, we have to just keep reinforcing the power of the present simple for all these facts. It's simple action, simple state. If you start trying to use other tenses, you can create confusion.
And the source material specifically warns against using the continuous tense, which is a mistake learners make when they think they need to sound more advanced.
Absolutely. The function of the continuous tense, I am teaching, is to signal a temporary action.
Something happening right now.
Exactly. But your job is a permanent fact. So the correct usage is, I am a teacher, not I am being a teacher.
Because that implies you're only a teacher for this afternoon, maybe.
Precisely. And it's the same for possession. You say, I have 2 brothers, not I am having 2 brothers. Possession of family is a permanent state.
That's a really critical distinction. The tense actually changes the meaning. Now, what about hobbies? Do we use I like to play or I like playing?
This is a great nuanced point. The preferred form, to sound a bit more natural and smooth, is I like, plus the verbing form. I like playing basketball.
But I like to play isn't wrong, is it?
It's not wrong. It's perfectly acceptable, especially casually. But the gerund form, the ing, often creates a better rhythm. Beginners should aim for verbing to sound a bit more polished.
Okay, let's talk about the key to sounding competent: connection. Beginners often speak in these short, choppy sentences. My name is John. I am a student. I like football.
Yes, and the listener just hears a list of facts, not a person.
So how do we fix that? How do we smooth it out?
With the most underrated A2 skill, simple connectors. We're talking about words like and, but also and because. And the phrase in my free time is so useful.
Okay, let's do an example because this really changes the whole experience for the listener.
Okay, let's take a basic choppy introduction. I am Sophia. I am 28. I work as a graphic designer. I enjoy cooking.
Right, a list of facts. Now, how does that sound when Sophia uses connectors?
It becomes a little story. I am 28 years old, and I work as a graphic designer. I enjoy cooking and drawing because I like to be creative. In my free time, I also watch movies. I'm learning English to improve my communication at work.
Wow, it's completely different.
It is. Notice how, because gives a reason for the hobby and combines ideas, it flows like a natural speaker telling you about themselves, not reading a list.
That jump from list of facts to story of self is the real goal here for the learner.
It's everything. But it's not enough to just be grammatically correct. You have to fit into the cultural context of the conversation.
What stands out to you about the culture of introductions in, English-speaking places?
The main thing is brevity. English speakers generally prefer introductions that are short and to the point unless they ask for more detail.
Beginners can sometimes over-explain, right, out of
They
nervousness.
do. They feel they need to tell you everything at once. But you have to leave room for the conversation to breathe and develop on its own.
And what about the physical side, the tone, the speed?
Oh, the nonverbal cues are vital. You need to maintain eye contact, smile, and most importantly, speak clearly and at a measured pace. The source is very clear on this. Your tone and clarity matter just as much as your grammar.
Speaking too fast is a sign of nervousness, not fluency.
Not at all. And it kills your clarity.
So the introduction is designed to be a launch pad. You've given them your hooks, you have to be ready for them to bite.
You have to be ready to answer a follow-up question about your job or your hobbies. If you say you like to travel, you should expect them to ask, "Oh, where have you been?"
So you should practice the answers to those questions too.
before you even give your introduction. Yeah.
So once a learner has drafted their perfect intro, how do they get it from the page to, confident, automatic delivery? What are the key practice methods?
Okay, the learner's toolkit needs repetition and self-assessment. First is the basic writing exercise. Draft your introduction using all the categories and force yourself to use at least 3 different connectors.
That gets the structure right, but speaking is a whole different animal.
It is. So next up is timer practice. Force yourself to speak for 30 seconds without stopping, then a minute. This builds your retrieval speed under pressure. You're training your mouth to just go.
And the third method is the one everyone fears but is so important: recording yourself.
This is where the magic happens. You have to listen back and analyze your own pronunciation, your pauses, your speed. You'll hear things that you had no idea you were doing.
Right, what sounds slow in your head might be super fast on the recording.
Exactly. This is how you find and break those unconscious habits.
And finally, the technique for really sounding natural, for getting that native rhythm, is the shadowing method.
Yes, you listen to a native speaker's introduction and you speak along with them at the same time. You actively imitate their rhythm, their stress, their intonation. This trains your mouth and your ears to the cadence of English.
And your delivery becomes so much smoother.
It becomes less mechanical. And that cycle writing, time speaking, self-correction, and shadowing, that consistent practice is what takes you from translating word for word to sounding natural.
And that consistent practice is the real linguistic win here, isn't it? Because it helps you stop translating from your native language and actually start thinking in English.
That's the ultimate goal.
This has been a really crucial deep dive. We've covered everything from the technical stuff, like avoiding that present simple continuous mix-up, to the cultural need for brevity and the absolute power of using connectors.
It all comes together.
Mastering the self-introduction is just such a powerful skill for any beginner. It builds the confidence for every single conversation that comes after it.
The key takeaway is really to keep the content simple and the structure clear. And practice, practice, practice using those connectors until it feels natural. And don't forget those personal touches, your hobbies, your goals. That's the hook.
So what does this all mean for you, the learner, today? The goal is to make that crucial mental flip to thinking in English.
And this raises a really important question for you to think about. Since your introduction is highly practiced, maybe even memorized, it's your moment of highest confidence. So how can you strategically use that prepared introduction as a launching pad to force that switch into an English thought process? How do you make sure you don't immediately go back to slow, halting translation once the small talk begins and you leave the script?
Maintaining that linguistic altitude.
That mental force required to stay there. That is
Yeah.
the next level of mastery.